Thank y'all for bearing with us, and I apologize for the technical difficulties.
We got feed out.
So is it gonna be?
We good out.
Okay, hold on one second.
Make sure you plug the aux up out.
Yeah. All right, let's see if this is gonna work.
Yeah, with the darker Jews, the 12 lost tribes of Israel, who we are. So we're the blood of Christ. So we're not just black. We are Jews.
I'm an Israelite. Don't call me black no more. That word is only a color. It ain't facts no more. Hey, I'm an Israelite. My diamonds Israelite.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have. My dad.
Yeah. And by the way, we blood of Christ. We blood of Moses. We're not just a color in a crayon box. And if we knew that, who we really were, we'd treat each other differently. We'd treat ourselves differently. So when you say, I'm black and I'm proud, like, but of what? What concept are we understanding? They say, go see the African History Museum. Why do they start when the boats came? Why don't they start with the drums?
When we was kings.
Oh, they don't want it, but we are kings. But the 400 years doesn't have to deal with slavery. It has to deal with the Bible. It has to deal with us being disobedient to God.
Are you anti-Semitic?
Anti-Semitic.
You've many of the things that I've read about you, and you've made a mention a couple of times about the Jews and everything, and I'm wondering if you are personally anti-Semitic.
No. How can I be anti-Semitic when the Arabs are half the Muslim world is Semitic? If I was anti-Semitic, I'd be anti-Arab and anti-everything else. No, I think that in this country, there's one mistake that the Jews make. They put themselves in a position where whenever anybody gives an objective analysis of the role that they play, they defend themselves by accusing you of being anti-Semitic.
It's not about educating yourself on what Semitism is and what anti-Semitism is. It's really about learning the root words of where these come from and understanding that this is an African heritage that is also belonging to the people. Africa is in it, whether we want to dismiss it or not. So the claims of anti-Semitism and who are the original chosen people of God, and we go into these religious conversations and it's a big no-no. I don't live my way like that. I don't live my life that way. So they could push their agenda. I don't want to say they, because I'm not identifying any one group or race of people, but I'm in a unique position to have a level of influence on my community. And what I post does not mean that I support everything that's being said or everything that's being done, or I'm campaigning for anything. All I do is post things for my people in my community and those that it's actually going to impact.
See, this is my exact point that I'm making. Like, Jewish people have owned the black voice, whether it's through us wearing a Ralph Lauren shirt, or it's all of us being signed to a record label, or having a Jewish manager, or being signed to a Jewish basketball team.
And a Negro is not anti-Semitic when he says that the man who's exploiting him in his community is white, because it is a white man who owns all the stores. Now, is it an accident that these whites who own these stores are Jewish? If it's an accident, then the fact that he says the Jew on the corner is exploiting me isn't an anti-Semitic statement. It's just more descriptive of the man who's exploiting him.
What was that?
All right, so it says, think about it, that sounds like the type of wording that's in the contracts, right?
Indeed.
Okay, it says, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions.
But isn't that what you said? That Jews run everything?
Yeah, but that actually is considered to be anti-Semitic.
Right.
So I didn't realize that it was anti-Semitic to say, hey, you know, I have a Jewish attorney. I have a Jewish record label. I have a Jewish contractor. I have a
Do you regret your statements?
Are the statements you think you should be walking back? I mean, considering...
What do you mean walking back?
Well, you know, backing up off of them. I mean, the thing is, you've lost a lot of endorsements. People are dropping you. You're getting, you know, vilified. You know, I mean, you might think you're right, but I think, you know, there's a whole world out there that's condemning you for what you said.
Okay, so this right here is a chart of Universal Studios, 20th Century Fox, ABC News, CBS News, Columbia Pictures, Warner Brothers, ESPN Sports, Fox News, Washington Post, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MTV Music Television, Nickelodeon, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Comedy Central, NBC Entertainment, Google, what else do we have? Disney, ABC Kids and Family, YouTube, Los Angeles Times, Discovery Network, Paramount Pictures, Facebook, Huffington Post, Yahoo, Marvel, Hulu, Cosmopolitan, Time, Touchstone, Associated Press, Pixar, Miramax, HBO, New York Post, LucasArts, MSNBC, DreamWorks Animation. Now the thing is, I skipped over maybe about 5 of them because it was just unclear on this list. The red are the executives that are Jewish at these companies.
Do you think they stuck together when they heard what you said? Was that what happened?
Well, what I said is, hey, you know, I've had experiences where it felt like I was being teamed up on, and I didn't realize that term would be considered to be anti-Semitic. So I had a mediation with Adidas today, and I think Adidas felt like because everyone else was ganging up on me that they had the right to just take my designs. And I feel like right now, I feel like that was in Christianity. We don't say karma. We say you reap what you sow. And I feel like this is God humbling me right now because there's two things that are happening. A lot of times when I would say, oh, I'm the richest black man, it would be a defense that I would use for the mental health conversation. To say, oh, you guys say I'm crazy, but look at this, I made money. That's what I said. But that is not godlike to be showing off. So if it's not godlike, then God will take that because it's all the church's money, right? So what's happening right now is I'm being humbled. Another thing that's happening is by me being burned to the flesh every single day, it's actually proving what I had to say.
Co-sign it, but you get used to that. Paparazzi taking a picture of you ain't getting no money off it. Right. You just get used to getting screwed by the Jewish media. And I'm saying, y'all done poked the bear too fucking long. When I wore the White Lives Matter tee, I had 4 SoFi Stadium shows. They canceled my shows. I said it's up. I told y'all I was the leader. I told y'all I'm gonna free my people in the name of God, and I will put my life at risk. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of y'all no more. And we don't have to be afraid. I understand that they got us so paid off every which way, they cutting down. And my whole point just off the tweet, the fact that, what does that even mean, what I said? And the fact that I got taken off proves my point. Jamie Lee Curtis went on TV and said, I hope they take his children away from him. Wow. I hope they take his children away from him.
When you do talk about hatred, this actually is very timely for what's happening right now because Kanye West tweeted on just recently, and I'll read his...
It was yesterday. Yesterday morning.
He wrote,
I woke up to this.
Yeah, this is what he said, in case people don't know. I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. And then he goes on to say, the funny thing is, I can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew also. You guys have... Anyway, he goes on. You saw that tweet, and you responded immediately saying this. Also, on October 9th, the holiest day in Judaism was last week. Words matter. A threat to Jewish people ended once in genocide. Your words hurt and incite violence. You are a father. Please stop.
I burst into tears. I woke up and burst into tears. DEFCON 3 on Jewish people?
Look how red she is, too.
What are you doing? This is, I mean, it's bad enough that fascism is on the rise around the world, but on Twitter, on a portal, to pour that in as if Jewish people haven't had it hard enough.
I don't advocate any kind of hate. But there's a lot of talk that sounds very much like it.
No, I think that the guilt complex of the American white man is so profound until when you begin to analyze the real condition of the black man in America, instead of the American white man eliminating the causes that create that condition, he tries to cover it up by accusing his accusers of teaching hate. But actually, they're just exposing him for being responsible for what exists.
Everybody they put out, Triple X, Tupac, that's what Larry was saying.
Right.
My response was, well, I guess I'm next then.
Right.
Because it's no backing down at this point. I talked to Q because Q been labeled an anti-Semite. First of all, we are Semite. We
Right.
Jew, so I can't be anti-Semite.
Right.
First of all, I need my 4 stadiums back. The 78 media outlets that called me abuser when I was trying to get that heroin addict away from my kids that was tattooing my kids' names on them. By the way, y'all done already fuck with me so much. Y'all already black mirrored me. You already made everybody think I'm crazy. You already took my family away. You already separated all my friends. I don't got no celebrity friends. Because when I was on TV, on Instagram saying, I don't know where my child is, and the Kardashians kidnapped my daughter in public, and I didn't have the address of my child, none of these niggas that want to say something
Travis
now.
gave you the address, though, right?
Travis gave me the address.
Right.
But as far as Meek Mills, Puff Daddy, whoever, none of these niggas, all you fake hard niggas, fuck you. Hold on.
Okay.
All you fake hard niggas, fuck you.
But I just can't take this shit sometimes. And if they take everything away from me, it wouldn't fucking matter. Artists be too concerned about their well-being sometimes. Artists be too scared to stand up for something. They scared to lose their fucking house. Or they scared to lose their record deal. I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Lisa came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
They can't control you. They can't. They try to suppress you, but that's how they try to categorize.
They can't control me. You get what I'm saying? They can control Shaq. They can control Charles Barkley. They can control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But not you, man.
But they can't control me. You
Not
see,
you.
it ain't no name I won't name.
Exactly.
It's up.
Not you.
You know what I'm saying? And just for Minister Farrakhan, I love you, but the way you read that, I took that as a slight. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking no disrespect from nobody. So let's get on the phone. Let's talk that out. I don't care who you are. I ain't taking no slights from nobody, right? I ain't taking no slights from nobody. It's God. That's the only person that I serve. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah. I'm Christian.
Michael Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You know, out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize. And God loved me. You understand? They hit me. Gap, Adidas, all that away. Still, Forbes, who hate me, right, had to write net worth 400 million. Jesus is king. God loved me.
That's more important than thinking alive.
That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? And this truth is going to be heard. Y'all can't send none of y'all Meek Mills, y'all Puffies, y'all Lil Boozy, none of these names, none of these people that have to listen to y'all because they have legal. I never killed nobody, right? I'm the pussy that never killed nobody, right? But that means I can say whatever I want and not go to jail. I got a new word for 2024. The red media. That is the red media. If you go to Apple right now, go to Apple Music. Let's load up the top 10 songs. I guarantee you they're promoting black serial killing.
Absolutely.
Not just one. They're promoting black. The red media is making money off of blacks being serial killers to each other. Also misogynistic. The red media is making money off of that. And God sees it. But I understand, and I'm not judging because the oppressed becomes the oppressor. And it is our time now. Blacks are coming into money. We are not scared anymore. And I showed you that I crossed that line. They tried to bankrupt me. They tried to say I was crazy, and I'm alive. We haven't had a full black community since the gentrification of Harlem and Black Wall Street, which was torn down. But I know my brothers, my engineers, my architects, my farmers are gonna rise up. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, the devil is a defeated foe.
So, of course, when he's saying black, he's not just talking about black. He's talking about the children of Israel, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, so-called all of the ones that are scattered abroad. What y'all think about that? I'll tell you what I think about it. For all of the naysayers, it's getting ready to go down. It's a whole lot of folks that had a lot to say, and I realized that a lot of people have closed their mouths because they're seeing everything that we've been telling them for so long manifest right in front of their eyes. Go to the book of Revelation. All it takes is one. They're going to try their best to clean this one up. Revelation chapter 2, and let's get verse 9.
Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation.
Go ahead.
And poverty, but thou art rich.
So now, who is he talking to? He said, I know thy works and tribulation, all of the things that we go through as a people. He said, I know your poverty. I know you ain't got nothing. I know you struggling. He said, but thou art rich. Yeah, we may not have it in our pockets. We may not have it in terms of materialistic things. But one thing that we got to remember through it all is we're rich. Why are we so rich? Number one, you got a heritage. You got identity. You got a promise. You got a covenant. But more importantly than anything else, you got a king and you got a God. Go ahead and read.
I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
He said, I know the blasphemy, the lies of those that say that they're the Jews. Go ahead.
And are not.
But they are not. They are not us. But who are they?
But are the synagogue of Satan.
The synagogue of Satan. Synagogue meaning what? A place. A place to dwell. They are the designated vessels of Satan. Read.
Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer.
The first thing that I need to tell y'all, a lot of people have tried to tell you, Martin, after he had said a bunch of foolish things and he realized that he had said a bunch of foolish things to the people. And in his last speech, that was one of the things he was trying to tell the people. Don't be afraid. You got to understand, you finally get to a point where you understand what's going to happen is going to happen. You just have to make up your mind on which side of the line are you going to stand on. That's it. Go ahead.
Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison.
The devil. Y'all got to remember, hold on. The literal definition of what a devil is. First and foremost, every time you hear that word devil, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the image? You're right. But somebody said it. Somebody said, a couple of y'all said what? Red. I think of red. there is no coincidence why you think of red, because there's been an association for so long. It's a red people, right? What else? You think of horns. Those horns that were spoken about, that goat that represented Alexander and the Edomites, that particular nation. This is what we're talking about. But devil, the word actually literally means to be a false accuser. What are they doing on a constant basis more than anything else? They falsely accuse us. They falsely accuse Israelites every day of being savages, of being the worst people to walk the face of this earth. They vilify us. They criminalize us. When indeed, we are nowhere near the savages that they've been to us. They can never run back and really convince anybody, if anybody was to really run back the tape and see everything that they've done to us as a people versus what they point the finger at us for today. And they shame us for today. So the magic word is anti-Semitism. And just like you heard the brother say, how in the world can I be anti-Semitic when I'm a Shemite? I'm of the lineage of Shem myself. It is true, Esau is a Shemite. But guess what? Jacob is also a Semite. The Arabs are also Semites. Many of the East Indian people are Semites. The Chinese and the Japanese and all those that come from them, guess what? They are Semites because they come from Shem. So the whole term anti-Semitism, what is it? It's just a distraction. It's a device. And it's something that, it's kind of funny because you hear certain things. When you first heard the word anti-Semitism, it didn't mean anything to you. You know why? You know why? Because we wasn't in that socioeconomic status to understand what it meant. I can sit up here and say the things that I'm saying, right? And it's, people are going to listen and say, okay, that was pretty powerful, blah, 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 and then they'll move on with their life. But see what happens when someone with the socioeconomic status of somebody like Kanye or Kyrie says something, and the whole world takes notice, that becomes an issue. That becomes a problem. And it's becoming more and more of a problem to them right now because their kingdom is literally falling apart. We didn't know what that word meant because it wasn't something that they could hold over our head. Did you hear some of the stuff that was being said and revealed? Many things that we've been telling y'all for years. All praise be to the Heavenly Father. That man said, I haven't killed anybody. Therefore, at the end of the day, I can say, in other words, what he was saying, you ain't got nothing on me. Goodness. Read.
And ye shall that ye may be tried, and ye shall be and ye shall have tribulation 10 days.
So hold on. It said, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. How many of y'all that scared of prison? Of course, we don't want to go to prison, but guess what? If it means standing up for this truth and standing up for your true identity, what you gonna do? I hope so. I hope so. Go ahead and read.
That ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days.
You're going to be tried. The time is coming where you're going to be tried. You better get your spirit right. If you're struggling over the little bitty things that you're struggling over right now, you ain't going to last. I'm serious. If you don't get your mind right, you are not going to last. Any and everything else you got going on, it is what it is, but it's not more important than this right here, what we're doing. This is the primary thing in our lives. And you got to have your mind right. You can't be straddling the fence. Go ahead and read.
Be thou faithful unto death.
Be thou faithful unto death. You ready to be faithful unto death? That's some heavy commitment. A lot of us, we don't like to commit with little things. You ready to make that kind of commitment, faithful unto death? That's why we got to convocate. That's why we come together. You got to hear this. You got to get this in your spirit. Read.
I will give thee a crown of life.
And then I'll give you a crown of life. Read.
He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches.
Go ahead.
He that hath overcome shall not be hurt.
He that overcometh shall not be hurt of what?
Of the second death.
That's the only death that you're really trying to dodge. The second death, the eternal death, the lake, the one that some Israelites trying to teach that don't even exist. That's the one you got to dodge. But as far as some of us losing our lives for the cause, let it be a triumphant death. Let it be an honorable death. Go from there. Go to the book of Esther, chapter 4. Is it in the Apocrypha? Let me see. Say chapter 4. Hold on one second. You know what? I am looking for the one in the Apocrypha. I don't know why I say chapter 4. Esther in the Apocrypha, the rest of Esther. Let's see. Might have been 14. Nah. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. This thing misled me. Thou knowest. 13. And verse 12. We're going to read 12 through 15.
Esther chapter 13, which is the rest of Esther in the Apocrypha, chapter 13 and verse 12. Thou knowest all things, and thou knowest the Lord, that it was neither in contempt nor pride, nor for any desire of glory, that I do not bow down to a proud man.
So hold on first. Let's put this in context. Who is this speaking? Who's speaking right now? Mordecai. This is Mordecai, all right? Y'all know who he is, right? Okay, so let's read again from the top of 12.
Thou knowest all things, that thou knowest knowest, Lord, that I was neither in contempt nor pride.
So hold on, he's talking to the Most High. He said, thou knowest all things. In other words, he's talking to the Most High. He said, you know if I was BSing you. You know if I was lying. You know if my heart wasn't right, but you know all things, all right? He said, and thou knowest, Lord, that it was neither in contempt nor pride. A lot of times, certain things we don't want to do, and it's either out of contempt or pride. He said this right here had nothing to do with any kind of pride. Read.
Nor for any desire of glory.
He said neither for any desire of glory. I wasn't trying to be a hero. You got a whole lot of people that's trying to be heroes. Just like the situation with Judas and Jonathan. And Judas told him to stay put. But they said, look, man, we got an opportunity. We can make us a name. And what happened when they went out? They got Israel beat down, right? People try to be heroes. But this is a type of situation that you might not recover from. He said, I wasn't doing this to be a hero. Read.
That I did not bow down to a proud. Amen.
He said, I didn't bow down to a proud Haman. Haman. Who was Haman? Definitely an Edomite. He wanted to destroy literally the whole nation of Israel. It wasn't a situation where he plotted on one or a couple of Israelites and he was trying to take their life. Literally, he tried to set it up where the entire nation of Israel would get exterminated. And if it had not been for the Most High, using the likes of Mordecai, using the likes of Esther, who knows where we be today? But it was a situation because if you know the story, Haman required that what? He wanted Mordecai to do what? Just like everybody else was doing. Bow down. A lot of us, man, I'm telling you, it's a whole lot of Israelites that bow down to Esau. Haman was able to position himself. At this time, his people wasn't even on top of the earth hadn't even been given over into their hands yet. But Haman not only was an Edomite, a lot of people don't understand, Haman was a what? He was an Amalekite. Not just your regular type of Edomite. The worst of the worst. And one thing about the Amalekites that they were successful at doing, no matter who came into power, the Amalekites were successful at getting within the ranks of the armies, within the government, and they would position themselves to become high-ranking. That's what Haman did, right? And by doing that, you know, he got a little bit of power, just like you see Esau on the street. How do they normally act when they get a little bit of power? Proud, and what else? They want you to bow down. And Haman wanted him to bow down, and Mordecai decided that he wouldn't bow down. And that became an issue. And that's when because he already had a disdain for Israelites, but that's what pushed him to say, you know what? I'm going to exterminate all Israelites. So read.
For I could have been content with the goodwill for salvation of Israel to kiss the sole of his feet.
So this is what he's saying. Mordecai said, look, if it was going to be a situation where the Most High told me to kiss his feet and to save the nation, then I would have did it. Similar to kind of like what Esther did. Esther didn't want to marry the heathen, but she married that heathen for what reason? To be able to save her nation. Esther didn't care about his riches. She didn't care about his status. She just wanted to make sure her people were straight. Go ahead.
But I did this, that I might not prefer the glory of man above the glory of the Most High.
He said, that's the reason I did it. It was never about the glory of men. Oh, Mordecai, oh man, you done bossed up now, because they was trying to hook Mordecai. Mordecai could have been the man next to the man. He said, I don't want to be all of that. But I want everybody to understand that it ain't man that we should be glorifying. We shouldn't be glorifying these celebrities. We shouldn't be glorifying all of these things that we see that are offered to us in this captivity. Yeah, you watch movies. You're going to watch movies, you're going to watch basketball, football games, cool. But what's the balance on that? Are you so diehard? Are you so, like, the thing is, when you give yourself to these things, now you got a problem. And you get to glorifying man. So many people glorify this man and they don't even realize it. Because like Kanye was showing you, he's not just the face of the media. He doesn't just own the media. He pretty much owns anything that's worth being owned. He literally has taken over the earth. The educational institutions, he owns them. He created them. He runs them. You want to talk about banking, he runs it. Literally. So guess what? The earth is in his hand. He's powerful. And our people, coming from a situation where a lot of our people are still poor, we look up to that, right? We look up to that. Man, I wish I was balling like that. It's crazy that they're allowing some of our people to get billions now. In one of the interviews, Kanye said something. He said, yeah, baby B. He was like, what's a baby B? $1 billion. He said, they'll give you that little billion and hope that you just shut up because you're just so happy to be a billionaire. But just like that, he said, I got humble because he said it was snatched in front of the whole world. I went from a billionaire to 400 million. Thing that you don't understand is crazy. It's like, you think Kanye got all that cash in his pocket? Those are numbers in the system. I can give it to you and I can take it away. He think he God. And that's what he acting like. He acting like God, and a lot of them treating him like he God. He the Godfather. Go ahead and read.
Neither will I worship any but thee, O Yahweh.
He said, I ain't worshiping. That's the thing. All of this vibrato, everything that they did with Kyrie, people been calling it's modern day buck breaking. Now you got to do this. I don't care you apologize. You got to apologize again. You got to get this much money. You got to go through this kind of training. You got me messed up. And then I'm apologizing for some nonsense, for some truthful stuff. It ain't nowhere in the world I can know I'm an Israelite. This is just me. Because even though Kanye said he ain't scared, he's saying a whole lot. It's still a lot that he ain't saying that he obviously know. Because the reality of it is, while a lot of us sitting up here playing, we be more scared of our own people, but you don't know these bootleg Jews, you don't know their history. They are the most ruthless people on the face of this earth. The origin of real gangsterism, you can go to the Skirball Museum and you can go and find out what their contribution to all of the gangster stuff that you look up to, all of them gangster movies. Those are portrayals of the Jewish people and what they did earlier on to establish themselves as a power here in this country. We so mesmerized by magic, don't really understand it ties directly into Hollywood. All the things that they did, the moguls, to position themselves to be in power in the way that they're in power right now. Same thing with the Rothschilds and the Bilderbergs in regards to the financial institutions. They took over the world. And they had no problem killing to do it. Organized crime was fine-tuned by the bootleg Jew. These are things that you don't know, that you take lightly. And you look at them like that little scrawny fool right there. They're savages. And if they can punk us in the way that they've been punking us, to the point where you can find out and be convinced that you are an Israelite, and still you apologizing and what you said was anti-Semitic. What? Some of them, they don't even know what anti-Semitic is at first when they first get blamed for being anti-Semitic. You telling me I can't talk about the truth in regards to you if I do, it's anti-Semitic? And you can justify cutting me off and everything? Guy by the name of Ari Emanuel, he says publicly, all of these major companies cut off your ties with Kanye or else. They got the punkin' Adidas. Brought out the history of Adidas, that it was a German company during the time of Hitler when they really made their move to become prominent. And did what they continue to do today, but they shame them, you know, for having their shoes being worn by, what's his name, Jesse Owens. They always want to talk about Hitler like he was the worst of the worst. It's crazy, because Esau is the devil that the Bible speak of. But even amongst Edom, they know that the bastard is the top branch of Esau, which is called Amalek. A lot of Edomites can't stand their own brother Amalek, because he's just the dirtiest of the dirtiest. Man, they can't stand him. But they can't touch him. For all of that, and then they sit up, man, I can go on and on, man. I can go into, they want to shame you about the Holocaust. First doggone mantle. First of all, they've been saying 6 million for I don't know how long. Then they put on the first mantle 4 million. Then they revised it and put 1.5 million, and amongst them, most of them were so-called Jews. And they said it wasn't even that many bootleg Jews in the region at that time. You trying to figure out the connections, you got to go and get the history. Where did they come from? The last place, the last destination that they were in, a place called Khazaria. What does that mean? Where is that at? You don't even understand the reason why America is against Russia. Everything that we talking about in the history is still going on right now. Because guess who fought against Russia? The Khazars, Khazaria. And they lost. You want to get into some of this history, go back and learn that. There's still a divide to this day and a war between the two to this very day, between Esau and Esau. But Khazaria, the Khazars, is Amalek. That's why they had so much of a problem with Russia recently, and they know this is about to kick it off. They had a problem with Russia just recently doing what? Who did Russia take over? They took everything.
Ukraine.
That's their land. That's where they come from.
You know why they did it too, though?
Why?
Because the Ukraine president is Jewish. He was like, I don't want that.
Because that's still their land. That's home. Because at first when I was looking at it, I'm trying to piece it together like, dang, their leader happened to be Jewish. Come to find out, that's Khazaria. That's their land. And they've been at odds for a long, long time. Let's get into it, man. I ain't going to go too far into it. Some of y'all. Crazy, because as much of a bastard and as much as vile as Esau is, that part of Esau tell on the worst of the worst. Hitler was trying to tell on him. He said, you know these the Jews? They sitting over here vilifying Hitler. They was doing worse than Hitler had ever done. Go ahead and finish that.
Neither will I do it in pride. And now, O Lord Yahweh and King, spare thy people, for their eyes are upon us to bring us to naught.
They want to bring us to naught. It's still the same situation. They want you to bow down, but at the end of the day, when they finish using you, they want to destroy you totally. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. We ain't bowing down to this man no more. They are looking like, okay, it's about to be on. All of this training that they've been doing. Amongst Esau, they train the most. It's so many different prominent figures that you just think they regular white and they Jewish. And they just been preparing and preparing and preparing for this moment. The war is coming. Thus saith the Lord. Read.
Yea, they desire to destroy the inheritance that has been thine from the beginning.
Which is us. Go from there. Go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 34, 21 and 22.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, in the Apocrypha, chapter 34, verse 21. The bread of the needy is their life.
The bread of the needy is their life. Listen up, read.
He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood.
See, this is what they know. And because they control everything, guess what? They're the hand that feeds most of our people. They have the ability to feed you, and they have the ability to do what? Take it away. Read.
He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him.
Does what?
He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him.
You seen that devil up there, that she-devil? Her face and all? She gonna cry and all of that. The Jewish people have suffered enough. And y'all ain't suffered as much as we've suffered. Collectively. Because everybody, they only think about so-called blacks. The Israelites ain't just so-called black people. Before Israel got over here, conquistadors was doing what? How many years was that going on? And then a lot of y'all, you don't even know about the various different slave trades because it's a diaspora. We literally was given to every nation in the world. And all of the different traumas and things that they were going through throughout the earth in these different situations. Y'all ain't went through what we went through. Not only have y'all not gone through what we went through, but you don't even go through anything that can compare to what we go through on a daily basis now. From what you created. They created hell on earth for us. Read.
And he that defraudeth the laborer of his hire is a bloodshedder.
He's a bloodshedder. He's the biggest bloodshedder. For all of this stuff, she talking about, what are you doing to us? How many of us can't eat the way we need to eat to thrive and be healthy? And a lot of y'all probably thinking like it ain't that bad. Niggas got McDonald's. It's amazing that we've lived and thrived this long off of food that ain't really food. All these doggone snacks and chips and fast food, a lot of us, we crack addicts, except for with food. It's crazy. Everybody don't get stuck on crack. Everybody don't become a heroin addict. But for those that do, it's a tough thing to kick. They got your babies hooked early. How many ways have they been trying to slowly kill us? All this time, they've been knowing. It's crazy. We didn't know, but they preserved these books. They medicinally knew how to heal you all along, but still created Western medicine. Got you on the West away from the East where all of that stuff is still known to this day. And here we are in the West and gave you Western medicine. And they still can't figure out how you're still here. How you still dominating sports. Being raised the way you're being raised on what you're being raised on. It's amazing to them. I start almost like stuttering because there's so much to talk about in terms of these bastards. Yeah, he the bastard that's in Ashdod, like the Bible says. Hitler had the sign of him being a bastard and half the lines pointing and said, this is not a Jew. And for all of that, our people sitting up here, I don't know what's going on. You're going to be destroyed. You know what's going on. Oh, no, I'm trying to figure it out. You ain't trying to figure it out. You want what's the pill they want to take? They want the blue pill. They want to remain in the matrix. They don't want to have to every day worry about thinking about the real of what's going on and how they need to prepare themselves. Shame on you. It's a scripture that say the fearful ones is going to die. The fearful ones going to be destroyed. And you can be afraid a little bit, but guess what? You better swallow that fear and be ready. Prepare yourself, because war is coming. War is coming. Oh, praise be to the Heavenly Father. Go from there. Go to the book of Exodus, chapter 17. It's crazy thing about it, man. We sitting up here. They shut everything down to try to make examples of these men. And it's backfiring because you're making more people interested. Everybody looking into Negroes to Hebrew. Wait, Hebrews to Negroes. The sales is going out the roof. Number one, yeah. Everybody looking at it. Go ahead.
The book of Exodus, chapter 17, verse 14.
We're going to read 14 through 16. Go ahead.
And the Most High said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book.
He said, write it for a memorial in a book. Go ahead.
And rehearse it in the ears of Joshua.
He said, and make sure you rehearse it into the leader's ear. This is something I want y'all to make sure y'all remember. Go ahead.
For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven.
Heavy. He said, I'm going to put out the remembrance. He said he's going to destroy Esau. He said, I'm going to put out the remembrance of Amalek. I don't even want to think of them. For all that they've done, I don't even want to think about them. Go ahead.
And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi.
Go ahead.
For he said, because Yahweh had sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek.
Listen up.
From generation to generation.
The Most High promised that he was going to have. That's how much the Most High hate Amalek, more than even the rest of Esau. He said, I hate Amalek so much. He said, I'm making a promise that I'm going to have war with them from generation to generation. It ain't going to never stop until they've gone off the face of this earth. That's why they always in the mix. Always in the mix. Sitting up here, you don't really know nothing. You thinking during slavery like, oh, Jews were some Jewish people. They was somewhere going through it like us. No, they was the ones funding the slave trade. They were the biggest recipients. They were the biggest benefactors in the slave trade. To the point where literally the Nation of Islam put out 3 books without any of their own words, but all Jewish references and admittances that the Jewish people had everything to do with the slave trade. Had documents showing names and bills of sale. And how do you get away from that? At this point, and it's crazy because with everything, Kanye said it outright. You heard it in the beginning of we're the children of Israel. They sweep that under the rug. They don't want to bring that back and talk about that. How long you going to sweep us under the rug? It's time, man, I'm telling you, it ain't going to be long. Go ahead and read. Was that it? That was all of that. Go to Revelation. Let's talk about this dragon, because the name of it is Khan. Yay. Khan meaning what? Yes. Yes, yay. Yes, Kyrie. You own to something. It says, who can stand before the dragon? Let's talk about the dragon. Revelation chapter 12. And I want verse 3, and then we're going to drop down to 9. We're going to read 9 on down.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
A great what?
Red dragon.
Red dragon. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head.
And that's another lesson in itself, going into all of that. All of his kingdoms. Drop down to verse 9.
Verse 9. The great dragon was cast out.
Uh-huh.
That old serpent.
That what?
That old serpent.
That old serpent, read.
Called the devil.
Called who?
The devil.
Because he's a false accuser. There's a scripture that says he accuses our forefathers day and night. Go ahead.
And Satan.
And who?
And Satan.
And he's the adversary. The spirit of Satan is a real thing. He's a real entity. But his name means adversary. This is a nation that is adversarial to us. Read.
Which deceiveth the whole world.
Uh-huh.
He was cast out into the earth.
He been deceiving the world. And this last time right here, he's done a heck of a job deceiving us. We lions. And he got us, you know what, you know them little the leash thing that you got the button and you got, you know, the dog, you can let it go and the dog can go like way out. But it's like, you know, a little bitty leash. He got us on one of those. And we just prancing right next to him like we some poodles. We lions. Lionesses. But we all messed up. We believe everything like it's crazy. Some of the stuff, if you can remember, he owns Disney. He owns Marvel. He tell you the truth, and a lot of this stuff he tease you. It's a game to him. But then he always is able to condition your mind. It's crazy. A lot of us have decided that we was going to break out the matrix, but you still have a level of conditioning that you still trying to eradicate from your mind. You still got a way of thinking because this is what this man has shown you all your life. Because you've been watching TV all your life. You've been programmed. The music that you listen to, and they make it seem like, oh, it just came from the streets. It was inspired. It came from the people. Nah. There are confessions of how we got the music that we listen to that perpetrated the lifestyles that a lot of us lived because of something that was put out not by our people, but by our enemy. And then it was upheld by our people because it became systemic, which means a system was created for you to act a certain type of way and you to live your life a certain type of way and for you to make decisions in a certain type of way that was contrary to what the Most High had set things up for us to be. Read.
And his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of Yahweh and the power of Yahweh Shai. For the accuser. What
is he?
For the accuser.
That's just a reference to him being called a devil. He's an accuser. He's the worst of the worst, but he accuses us. Go ahead.
For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Yahweh. Before our power day and night.
Go ahead.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto death.
Now, see, here's the thing that you got to understand, and that's the reason why I went to the other scripture, the one right before this, from generation to generation. When you read this whole thing, which we're not going to deal with the whole thing today because that's a lesson in itself, people get things confused. This is showing you from generation to generation what our battle has been with this people. And this is about to be the last hoorah. We're still fighting with this same nation of people. This very day. Amongst situations like when we was with Haman. What captivity was that? That was the Persians and the Medes. That was Darius, one of the Dariuses that actually was defeated. But here's the thing. A lot of the nations, even though they had us in captivity, they weren't as bad as Esau. Scripture says he's the worst of the worst. He's the vilest. Esau would be in the mix like Haman, trying to make things even worse for us. Read.
Therefore, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
He know he got but a short time, and that's why he moving the way he moving. Read.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast down unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child.
This happened over and over and over. And when it talks about being cast into the ground, we ain't talking about literal celestial angels being cast. That's not what we're talking about. Being cast down to the ground is you finally getting exposed. You finally being kicked off of your high horse and people can see what it is. He got kicked off of his high horse before. This is going to be the last time he gets kicked off of it, and he don't like it. He's fighting not to get kicked off of his throne. Read.
And to the woman were given 2 wings of great eagles, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time.
And you know who that woman is, right? In Jeremiah, it tells you who it is. Jeremiah, I believe, 6:3. It's talking about the nation of Israel. The woman that brought forth the child, talking about Yahushua. Yahushua literally came out of the nation of Israel. And it's talking about us. It's war. While you sitting up here, it's just like the movies that you watch, and it's crazy because some of them you know who the guy is and he play it cool, but all the while he's like, I got to kill this person. A lot of the movies that you see, you trying to find out who the person is that's been killing everybody. This is the guy. The whole time he's been behind the scenes doing everything he can to destroy you. The cold thing about it, he could have just destroyed it. Well, he wouldn't have been able to destroy us. But a person that got something, you see like, how many of y'all watch them zombie movies? And most of them got this in common. They see a zombie, and sometimes they end up seeing somebody that was a loved one of theirs, and they became a zombie. And what do? In most cases, let me see who really zombie movie watchers. A lot of them, they'll try to love them. When they see that it's useless, they got to blow their brains out, and they call that a what? A mercy kill. That's called mercy. Let me just take you out of your misery. Cold thing about this devil, ain't no mercy kill. He want to make a profit while he killing you. And it's even echoed through the hospitals, which, by the way, he owns and he runs as well. Bunch of bootleg Jews that are doctors, physicians. You better really pray before you go to the hospital. Because they'll plot on your organs. They'll keep you alive long enough to get what they want from you. They just ruthless. Nah, you be an organ donor, and a lot of people don't know this, man. You be an organ donor, you go up in there for something that you definitely should be living from, and they'll be like, we don't know what happened. Yeah, what happened was you was a match. And they went ahead, they needed that. You mysteriously got taken out. Yeah. So that you can give some other Amalekite your organs, your super organs. I mean, it just goes so far, man. They did all kind of tests on Israelites, found that our organs and our blood is superior. I forgot the one woman that they took her blood without her permission. Yeah, there it is. Henrietta Lacks. That's right. Henrietta Lacks, yeah. Esau, man, I'm telling you, he's cold-blooded. You know, you got homies that you think is heartless. They ain't more heartless than Esau, especially not Amalek. Like I said, they inspired this gangster stuff. And that's why a lot of people they go into the industry, into the entertainment industry, and they find out it's even more ruthless in the entertainment industry than it is on the streets. 50 said that. They said how 50 was with it. He was in the streets, and a lot of cats them vouched for him, and he said the industry is far worse than the streets. You dealing with the original gangsters. Read.
Where she is nourished for a time, and half a time, from face of the serpent.
From the face of the serpent. This serpent, this dragon, read verse 15.
And the serpent cast out his mouth waters as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
And you know what that is, right? You can go to Ephesians 4 and 14 on your own time. That flood represents all these lies, all this propaganda, all this dogma. These Edomites have it's an art. Speaking is an art for them. And they throw out all these words that you have no clue of what they're talking about. And they say them so fast you don't even know how to spell them, so you don't even go to look them up. Fascism. Oh, fascism is on the rise.
And one of the words she said in that thing was DEFCON 3. America been in DEFCON 3 for a long time. That's a state of defense that the military would take when they're opposed by their enemies. Kanye didn't say he was going to go kill somebody. He said, I'm going to go DEFCON 3. Basically, he's going on the defense.
Yep. But she said, oh, you said that, and I just cried, and oh. Should have said DEFCON 5 on them. Crazy thing about it, like I said, man, it's just games. Marxism, communism. How many isms we got to look up? And then you go look up and find out the history of these Edomites and how ruthless they was. Mussolini, what's his name? Stalin. Man, Napoleon, the names go on and on. It's been some ruthless Edomites in our recent history that have done some of the most heinous things, and the one they decide to vilify is Hitler, because he stood up and said, we need to leave them folks alone. We need to leave the Israelites alone. Exactly. And couldn't light a candle to a lot of them. If you go and look up the history of all of these people, Hitler didn't even hold a candle to a lot of these people. But, you know, they was all a part of the same team. Go ahead.
And the earth helped the woman.
Uh-huh.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
You know, that earth, man, is a combination of a number of things. Because the earth, what does the earth do? The earth preserves things. All types of archaeology. As much as they thought that they got rid of, it was too much to get rid of. All over the earth, there's a Noah story. What's so prominent about the Noah story, not only does it verify the validity of the Bible, but even more specifically, it tells you of the origin of the nations. And for the most part, scholars and scientists alike agree on. It's crazy because you'll read the Bible, and the Bible mirrors the same history that they give you in grade school and middle school and high school. By the time you look at it, and you be like, because you don't make the connection at first. A lot of us, we had old tore up. How many of y'all had tore up textbooks? You was probably throwing textbooks in your class. A lot of us, we went to schools, it was like lean on me. I went to some pretty messed up schools. My parents was from the South, so they didn't really know no better. We wasn't able to just get up and move schools. It was like, if that's where you at, that's where you at, make it happen. You know? And the way we were being educated is crazy, because what really made me do the double take was I began to work in the school system, because I didn't even remember that stuff when I was a kid. I don't remember half of my education as a kid. I don't remember none of that stuff. But I became a teacher's assistant. So I'm looking at all of these books, and I'm like, hold on. Especially as I was coming into consciousness and then coming into the truth. And I'm looking at these books like, man, this is the same thing that's in the Bible. Like, oh. And for all of that, our people are still blind. Go ahead. Was that all of that?
Verse 17.
This is the one. Pay attention.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
The dragon was wroth. We seen that dragon in that. Who was the dragon? Even more specifically, I'm going to show you something. Go ahead.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Went to make war with the remnant of her seed. The remnant of her seed, which do what?
Which keep the commandments of Yahweh.
This is what really give, because see, here go the thing. Esau, yeah, he against us. When it pop off, he gonna be against us. But your average Edomite ain't thinking the same way that the Amalekite is thinking. I'm gonna show you. The Amalekite is not thinking the same way that the regular Edomite is thinking. The Amalekite, they make sure that information that needs to be passed from generation to generation is being passed from generation to generation. And it's understood how important that information is. And understanding what they need to do with that information. And what they need to create from their children to make sure that they can maintain power. Finish that off.
And have the testimony of Hamashiach Yahushua.
So now, those that keep the commandments, those that have the testimony, this right here, those are the ones that it's really war against. And it's not just Esau, but more specifically, Amalek. I'm going to show you. Go from there. Go to, write down 13. And let's get verse 4.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 4. And they worshiped the dragon.
Who worshiped the dragon? Though you a Jew, who worshiped the dragon? More specifically, it's talking about somebody else. If you read above, go ahead, read verse 1.
And I stood up, the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy.
Go ahead.
And the beast which I saw was like unto the leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw
Slow down. I know who it is now. Any of those characteristics sound familiar? Read.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast.
Go ahead.
And they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
I'm going to help you out. You own it. You close. You said white Jesus. Who was responsible for that image? Okay, so now you own something. Now what happened with the Romans? You talking about the papacy as well, right? What happened? Or did they? They got a deadly wound, and then what happened? They resurrected. What are they called today? Thank you. It's America. Read verse 4 one more time.
And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast.
Believe it or not, guess who gives America its power? They're in cahoots. It's Amalek. So-called the Jewish. And America worships them. That's why they have so strong of a hand in America. They run America. And through America, they run the earth. Exactly. How you going to send yourself? They make it seem like America sending support and reparations, but it's not reparations. How you going to send reparations to your own people? This is what's happening. The Bible literally is telling you who to look for. Was that all the four?
And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Who's been able to make war with him? Every time there's war that pops off, who's in the middle of it all? And when I say America, who's really in the middle of it all? They're the ones that decide what's going to be what, besides the situation that they got with good old Russia. Why? Because Russia is the disgruntled brothers of Edom. All of these things that Biden and them said, oh, y'all, you guys are not going to do this, and if you do that, and it's not going to happen like this, and yet they didn't make a move. Putin was like, I am going to do this, and if you interfere, I'm not threatening, I'm promising you it's going to be a nuclear war. That's a promise. But then how long is America going to stay on standby? Because they known as the bully of all bullies. And the last time, especially, the whole Cold War situation, America was seen to have gotten the best of Russia. Russia's like, you know what? Y'all kept us in the cold for a long time. We far beyond that brother stuff. Y'all been running the earth for a long time and eating off of the fat of the earth for a long time. And we tired of it. It's funny because now you understand where all of them Russian icons come from. Why you got all of these depictions of Israelites, ancient Israelites, all through Russia? You putting the pieces of the puzzle together? Who connecting the dots? Russia's at a point they like, it is what it is, man. I'm tired of this anyway. And that's why they got the European Union, because Amalek try to reason with them. Come on, man. I know, we ain't on the best terms, but you ain't got it that bad. Like, how in the world ain't that much of enemies, but they speak to each other and they're linked through the European Union? Boy, the politics of this earth. Let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 24, verse 20. Yep.
The book of Numbers, chapter 24, and verse 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations.
He was the what?
He was the first of the nations.
So hold on. A lot of times you'll look at that word first and you'll just browse over it. He was the first. Well, Amalek was not the first of the nations. So what is this talking about? Thank you. You look that word first and it's Ra'ashath. And it means the chief. Amalek is the chief of the nations. He runs the earth. Not just Edom, but specifically Amalek. Read it one more time. Verse 20.
Verse 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations.
But what?
But his latter end shall be that he perish forever.
Amalek is going to be gone forever. Forever. Go from there. Go to the Ecclesiastes 5 and 8. But that's how much of a menace that he's been. He's been that much of a problem in the earth.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verse 8. If thou seest the oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at the matter.
You shouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised. Why?
For he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they.
In other words, what is this scripture saying? As chief of a nation as he is, as much as he runs the earth, guess what? The Most High is above him. Because sometimes we get in the place where we feel like, oh, it ain't no hope. They so powerful. I remember them conversations. We can't beat Esau. We gonna really need some help. They got everything. They got tanks. They got lasers. They go through you. They can hit you with the laser. You don't even know it's coming, and it just burn you up. Stay hear all them kind of conversations. But he said that Israel is going to be used as a what? We the battle axe. We tearing everything up. Tearing everything up. So he letting you know, man, look, I don't care how much Esau flexing, how much Amalek flexing on the earth. He flexing on Kyrie. He flexing on Kanye. He ain't flexing on the Most High. That's why it's good to not be under his thumb, to not feel like, oh, I'm going to lose everything. We ain't got much to lose as it is. And that's when he can't bribe you. A gift destroyeth the heart. I don't want none of your gifts. I want to see Babylon fall. That's what I want to see. Go to Psalms chapter 94 and verse 16. This is going to be the tell of the tape right here. Some of y'all looking weary in your spirits. You need a pickup. Psalm chapter 94 and verse 16.
Psalm chapter 94, verse 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoer?
Against these Amalekites. Go ahead.
Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Don't let Kanye outdo you. Kanye ain't even, I'm going to show you something in a second. Kanye ain't even fit for the battle. All praise be to the Most High for putting the spirit on him, but I hope he get himself right because he ain't fit for the battle yet. You can't go up, you can't go and face a dragon like that. I'm going to show you how you got to face a dragon. Go to Ephesians chapter 6. Start at verse 10. We're going to read 10 through 20. And it's funny. Every time you heard about a dragon, you always thought about what else? Thought about fire and what else? Who usually opposes the dragon? Who do they send in? They send in the night. Watch this. Read.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10.
Go ahead.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Most High, and in all the power of his might.
Go ahead.
Put on the whole armor of the Most High.
Put on the what?
The whole armor of the Most High.
Put on the what?
Put on the whole armor of the Most High.
Where in the world you think you going and you ain't even got your whole armor on? That's the problem. Kyrie ain't got the whole armor on. Kanye, he better go and get some armor on. What's going to happen is a lot of them, they getting burnt up, toasted. Because you had a moment and you felt good and your intention was good, but you got to get it the way everybody else got to get it. Scriptures say when it is that you will be a teacher, it's a must that you be taught again. The Bible says you got to be born again. To be born again means what? When you're born, you don't come out of that womb mature. You don't come out of that womb advanced. You come out of that womb humble. You come out of that womb like a baby. A baby it needs to be protected. It needs to be fed. It's vulnerable. A lot of people don't want to put themselves in a situation to be vulnerable. You got to be willing to be vulnerable. I hope I'm saying that right, boy. I'm struggling with it. You got to put yourself in a situation to humble yourself and be taught by somebody. That's scary, especially when you got all of that money. Especially when you feel like the whole world is against you and you can't trust nobody. Because one thing about Kanye, I can tell he's got more now than what he had when he first started saying it. First he was butchering, I'm on the 12 tribes of Judah. What is that? Obviously, he learned more. He quoting some of the early things we learned when we find out we Israelites. He talked about the Margaret Sanger and the Planned Parenthood and eugenics and cool. But it's a lot more you got to learn, brother. It's like Kyrie. He watched that documentary. It's a lot of heavy information in there, but it's also bones in there. How you going to war by yourself? It ain't happening. Especially if you ain't even got the whole armor on. Let's figure out what this armor look like. Read that.
Put on the whole armor of the Most High.
Go ahead.
That ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
That's the only way that you're going to be able to stand the wiles of the devil. Of these false accusers. Of Amalek. Read.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
See, everybody think, man, I'm about to go up in there and knock some. No. War is coming in terms of the battle and the fisticuffs and the bullets and the knives and the swords. But guess what? It's crazy because a lot of people don't know. The Bible says we're already in war. And war is strategy. War is politics. Read that.
But against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
When people read that, a lot of times they be like, ooh, he's talking about ghosts and stuff. They ain't talking about no ghosts. Real people. The Bible says against principalities. You know what principalities are? Government. That's what you fighting against. It ain't somebody that you can, man, I'm tired of all of this. I'm going to put this to an end and I'm coming outside. I'm going to knock somebody. No, you ain't knocking out the government with a couple of your blows. But that's who you're fighting against. Principalities, against powers, meaning you fighting against other nations that are in cahoots with him. Against the rulers of darkness of this world. Talking about all of this witchcraft. Hollywood, America is inundated with witchcraft. The Bible said that this place, Babylon right here, is the worst of the worst. It's the cage of every foul bird, every foul spirit. It's confusion here. Any type of fornication you can imagine is right here. And it's justified. He said that's what you're fighting against. Those that are higher up, that have been advocating for homosexuality and all types of bestiality and murder, they've been murdered. Man, I was telling somebody this recently. They say 800, I think it was like 840,000 kids, most of us, come up missing in the United States every year. You can Google that right now. Almost 1 million just gone every year. And if you know anything about the Bohemian Grove, you can go and I can show you pictures from years back where they were practicing what they still practice today. They got the big owl that Drake be talking about. Only the higher ups, Jay-Z and Beyonce, be there with Barack Obama and them. And they're in on it, and they make sacrifices, and they bring in some of our babies, and it's documented, got pictures, and they sacrifice these kids. That's what Halloween is about. A whole lot of people die that night, and you don't even realize it. Seriously, yeah. Read.
Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand.
You got to do everything that you're supposed to do to stand. You're not just making a stand and think you're going to be standing too long if you ain't made sure that you got your whole armor on. Because you're fighting against governments, this government right here, and other governments that are in cahoots. Go ahead.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth.
So that's the first thing. Your loins, meaning your unmentionables, that area, your reproductive area, girt about with truth. Why? Why that area with truth? Why the loins with truth? You're absolutely right. It's most important to understand that our kids have to be preserved with truth. They have to understand who we are and what it is that we have to do to maintain our connection with the Heavenly Father, because he's the only chance we got. And that's the only way we're going to get up out of here. That's the only way we're going to defeat this dragon. That's the only way we get home. That's why it says gird about the loins with truth. You got to preserve that truth for the youth, for the future. Watch this, read.
And having on the breastplate of righteousness.
Why the breastplate of righteousness? Same reason why you wear, how many of y'all, you got bulletproof vests? What? There you go, your vital organs. Breastplate of righteousness. Only righteousness is going to preserve you. Go ahead.
And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel.
The reason why your feet have to be shod with the preparation of the gospel is what? The gospel of peace. It's talking about the way you walk. The way you walk this walk has got to be about the gospel of peace. That's the only way you're going to be successful. That peace being what? That ultimate peace that we're supposed to have, which is what? Making it back home. The gospel, knowing who we are. The good news. Read.
Above all, taking the shield of faith.
You got to have a shield of faith. What does that faith represent? Your devotion. If you ain't devoted to nobody and you're an individualite, you ain't got no shield. Having devotion will put you in a situation where you got brotherhood and you got sisterhood that will act as a shield for you. Go ahead, take some of them shots, because that's what a shield is for. You got your armor, but you don't want to just let stuff hit your armor. You got a shield there to try to block your armor and preserve that. Go ahead.
Wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
That's how you quench the fiery darts of the wicked, because you devoted to a body where you building that. And they got your, well, they ain't got your back, they got your front as well. They willing to take on some of them attacks. Read.
And take the helmet of salvation.
Why helmet of salvation? Because salvation needs to stay on your mind. At all times. Go ahead.
And the sword of the Spirit.
Why the sword of the Spirit? Watch this, read.
Which is the word of Yahweh.
And they tell you specifically that sword is the word. It says it's a double-edged sword. Your sword is the one thing that you got that's not for defense, but it's for what? It's for offense. That's what you're going to pierce that dragon with. It's the only thing that can pierce that dragon. It's truth right here. This word. Cut him up. Leave him bleeding. Which of these is Kanye and Kyrie lacking? You can argue they got a little bit of some of these things, but the majority they don't have. If they ever hear this and see this, hopefully they take heed. But this is for the nation. This is for all of us, because there's going to be other Kyries and Kanyes that's going to stand up. But even for us, you got to understand, don't think you're going to do this half step and you're going to get your butt handed to you. Dragons breathe fire. You're going to get burnt. Put on the whole armor. Don't half step. Read.
Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
Go ahead.
And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel.
That's heavy right there. For me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly. The same way Kanye is opening up his mouth boldly, you got to be willing to open your mouth up too. Don't be sitting off in the corner scared to say something. You got to be willing to boldly say, I'm an Israelite. Our identity has been stolen. Those people are imposters. We're about to take this back. Thus saith the Lord. In a world where they try to make it seem like certain stuff is cool and other things ain't cool, the only coolest thing to do is to repent. The only coolest thing to do is to keep these commandments. Everything else, you're weird. Read.
For which I am an ambassador in bonds.
He said, I'm an ambassador in bonds, meaning what? Man, he said, man, I'm down, like I ain't going nowhere. Bonds mean I'm not going nowhere. I'm a prisoner, like you said. He said, and I'm not only a prisoner, I'm an ambassador. I'm ready to say whatever, relay whatever message that need to be relayed. Read.
That therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak.
As I ought to speak. We ought to speak boldly. We shouldn't be like, oh, well, I really don't want to upset anybody, and I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't tell them. It's a time for that. There was a time where our forefathers in certain situations was like, you know what? This ain't the time. This is the time. This is the time. It's about to blow wide open. Like he said, if you ashamed of me, I'm going to be ashamed of you before my Father. Real talk. You see, man, I got so much I knew I wasn't going to even get. Boy, I ain't even get through a fraction of this. I ain't going to do no part two, not right now, but. And all praise, man, I got way too many. It just, when it come to Esau, man, I almost can never condense the lesson, bro. It's just so much to talk about, man. Goodness. I was thinking about going into the history. I got it all here just in case, but I don't need it. What needed to be said was said, gave the visual, and you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be too long. I'm gonna drop one more on you. I'm gonna choose something. Just keep this in mind, man. And I ain't telling you this to scare you, but go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6. Second Maccabees 6. Let's just start at 6.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Boy, it's going to be coming. They already tripping. How many of y'all recently had baby boys within the last couple of years? Anybody in here? Anybody recently had a baby boy in the last couple of years? Did you guys have problems with circumcision? They've been really impressing upon us as a people to not circumcise our sons. Out of nowhere it happened, like maybe, I think it really first started happening around the time I had my son. And it's just been getting worse. You know, it was even you, they called child services on you. To that extreme, for somebody to do something that's been done and is still being done by our oppressor to their children. But they try to make us seem like we the scum of the earth. It's like when Moses' wife didn't want to do it. Bet it's gonna start being a problem these Sabbath days. So what you gonna do? You gonna tuck tail, or you gonna find a way to keep it regardless? All of the other feasts, because remember, seeing True Nation in other countries, True Nation in Ghana, True Nation in the Philippines, they don't have a law that says that they gotta, their feast days gotta be honored. We got that out here, and some of us still have a hard time. So it's just like what did they do with the vaccinations? They just 1 year, a couple of years ago, was like, religious exemption no longer taken. So what when they do that regarding your job and say, okay, we no longer have to honor your feast days, then what you gonna do? You gonna say, man, well, this is the only way I got to live, and what you want me to do? You want me to be poor? Or you gonna find a way? You gonna stand on this word? They already tripping off of people talking about they Jews, anti-Semitic, hate. You don't think at some point soon they gonna, you a what?
Remember when they put the Hawashai is coming in the Fairfax district, and they said that was anti-Semitic. Somebody made a sign and put Yahushua is coming, and they said that was anti-Semitic.
Anything right, and it's crazy because they're not coming directly towards us, but they're indirectly coming at us. Anything that's associated with the Hebrew Israelites is being deemed as anti-Semitic. Now they know where we at. They know what corners we own. They know where our houses of learning are, and they don't come directly to us. But if anything that's associated with us, they have a fit, and they let it be known that they, and they even blame those two crimes, like openly blame those two crimes on the whole Israelite movement. And there was another part I just didn't have time. Kanye made that known. He said, look, it's a double standard. It's a flip. Jewish person does something horrible. It's just the individual. Jewish guy does something great. All Jews benefit from it. Our people, so-called blacks and Hispanics and Israelites abroad, it's the opposite. We get caught, we get in the car, in the car, and one person, everybody going to jail. But then if one person has an opportunity of success, that literally happened to me. I had opportunities of being successful in their world and taking contracts. And I remember being in the skyscraper and them telling me, all you got to do is leave everybody that you messing with. And I had my manager in there with me, and she boo-hooing tears. Talk about, go ahead and take the deal. They're telling me that I'm no longer able to mess with you. A person has been working for me. We've been grinding it out together, and I got to disassociate myself with all of the people I was working with and just work with they people. I don't need it. I don't need it. And I turned that down. I turned a few of those situations down. But it's real. It's real. I understand now as a grown man looking back how they testing you and they trying to see what you will and what you won't go for. And I had people that was my homies and like brothers to me that are successful in Hollywood today. And them look at the lifestyle and the money that they was getting and say, I can't go back. I can't go back. It's war out here, man. What y'all gonna do? All praise be to the Heavenly Father. We got any announcements? Before that, too, man, all praise be to the Most High, man. I did not get a chance earlier on to